Just 15 months, short months before that, he was almost 50 years old. He was driving taxis and he was delivering pizzas in a suburb of Australia. Welcome, guys. We're on episode 90. Now, I want to tell you a little story about a man named Scott Ryan. He's an Aussie. And a few years ago, he was driving down Sunset Boulevard in Los Angeles, and he looked up and he saw an 18-meter long billboard with his face on it. Now, just 15 months, short months before that, he was almost 50 years old. He was driving taxis and he was delivering pizzas in a suburb of Australia. So that billboard, by the way, that he saw was of him in his new hit show called Mr. In Between. Now, for 20 years, he worked on what he says to be his purpose, which was basically to make the character of Ray Shoesmith, who's an assassin, come alive in this show for 20 years. And now he has. And not only has Scott written the show himself, but he also has acted as the main character of Ray. Now, totally random story. And how do I know about Mr. In Between? I'm a huge fan. I love it. I definitely have a diverse interest in various types of films and shows, not really a rom-com sort of girl. And so I really thought the show was fantastic. Netflix is where you probably can watch it if you're interested. So I started diving into, who is this guy that acted in the show, and the show's so successful, and who is he? And I started reading up on him because there really wasn't much history of him on IMDb or anywhere you can kind of look. And so I came across this really cool article about him, and that's how I started to understand his backstory. And it got me thinking, 20 years. Think about how long you need to stick in there to believe in yourself. And here's this guy who's driving taxis and delivering pizzas, and he's 48 years old, and he still has this dream in him. And in such a short amount of time, which we always like to say, the overnight success, he suddenly kind of is, right? And I wanted to share you that story because they're everywhere. We are the stories. You listening is probably a story that has sort of this long slog that you've put in to be where you are. And oftentimes we often hear about the famous ones, right? So, for example, have you guys heard of Louise Hay? So at the age of 62, you guys, 62, she started Hay House Publishing in her home. And now Hay House is arguably probably the biggest or one of the biggest publishers of self-help, inspirational and transformational books and products. It's huge. But she started this from her home at the age of 62, and now it's this massive global company. We've heard about people, like J.K. Rowling, who at the, wrote Harry Potter, and she was in a really low point in her life. She's a single mom. I think she moved in with her sister in Scotland, and she had this manuscript, and she basically shopped it around to try and get it published. And after 12 major publications rejected it, she could have just put up her hands and gone, okay, fine, I'm not meant to be an author. Finally, a small publishing house accepted to publish the book, just 1,000 copies to start with. Now, 20 years after that time, she had sold more than 500 million copies of the book. It was global. It was translated into 73 languages. So yes, these stories are everywhere. And oftentimes we read about the famous ones over and over and over again. But then there's people like Scott Ryan, who is a writer and suddenly has this incredibly well-known, well, to some, we'll say successful show. And I still feel like I'm on my path to success too. Like I've worked very, very, very hard in my business and in the space of digital marketing, testing, trialing offers, doing many speaking gigs that I do in this space. And I know I'm not where I want to be yet. And I think that's also kind of the curse of an entrepreneur as well. But I do definitely know, I'm not there yet. And I keep every day working and believing in myself and where I can take this and the tremendous amount of people that I know I'll be helping in the future. So I suppose, you guys, this episode is my way of just saying to you, don't give up. Don't give up. If you really want it, just keep going. Keep testing new things, keep meeting new people, keep asking for help, keep asking for feedback. You will get there. You will. Just believe in yourself. Okay. Thank you for listening, as always, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.